Okay, this is my first attempt at videoing. I don't think I'm gonna like it, but I think I need to do it. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone for, first of all, buying the book, Waking Matilda. It's had a great first 6 weeks. So thanks for that, but also for the many personal messages I've had through email and personal messaging on Facebook and comments when I've met you and seen you. So all of those have been so encouraging and have really encouraged me, I think, to move forward and think really seriously about what's next. But I'm doing this quick video today because hang on, I've just got a message from my friend. Whoops. I'll have to figure out how to do the video, not get text or something, because I'm very distracted right now. But I wanted to respond to what many of you have been asking me in your emails and comments about how Matilda and how we're doing now. So I thought, rather than try and sit and write, you know, like a sequel to the book, which I'm not quite there with that right now, but I just wanted to give you a quick update. So the best way to perhaps just answer that question that many of you have, how is Matilda doing and how are we doing? I thought I would just give you a quick window into our 24 hours. What our 24 hours, I really must stop these texts coming through. I don't know how to do that. So basically Matilda is on medication, and she's very dependent on a range of pharmacological options, which can be great for narcolepsy, people with narcolepsy and children. It's usually a cocktail of meds that take a lot of fine-tuning over time, and they come with quite a range of side effects. But I'm going to skip that little bit because the first year or two were particularly tricky for her, getting onto meds and just titrating her Xyrem at night, which is a difficult drug to manage, particularly in young children. But it is an effective drug, and for any of you who have a sleep disorder like narcolepsy and are on Xyrem or thinking about Xyrem, I would just say that I'm with you. It's hard, but I think it's really worth sticking with, and I'm really glad that we did push through that particularly the first 18 months. I should add that it was quite rough for her going on to Xyrem, and we had moved here to the US, to Los Angeles, and I think when she wasn't doing so well on it in the early days, there were many weeks where the professor and I just thought, oh dear, what have we done? We've sold our home in Bristol in England, and we've left our families, and this isn't quite working. But I want to say that a few years in, Xyrem has been a great medication for her. It's a drug that she takes at night in a couple of bottles. It's a liquid, and she drinks it around, she goes to bed around 7 or 8, depending on the school day or her nap schedule, and then she does her own sleep for the first few hours. And if Matilda's gonna experience hypnagogic or hypnopompic hallucinations through her narcolepsy, that's when she's gonna do it, when she's sort of sleeping unaided. So sometimes those first few hours of the evening were a bit rough for her, and she usually wakes for medication. It's a bit windy here. Around about 11 o'clock at night, and Oliver and I take it in turns to do her meds. So one night on, one night off. We call it duty, like night duty, as if, you know, we were nurses in a hospital or something. So one of us gives her first dose of Xyrem around 11, or if it's in the summer and she's got a bit more flexibility the next day, she could go a bit later, so more like midnight. But she comes into the bathroom. She's usually a bit cranky because she's tried to sleep, and she doesn't feel refreshed or restored after a few hours of her own sleep. So that first dose is usually a bit hairy. She's usually a bit grumpy, and she needs to take some food, something like the size of an apple, or a protein bar and half of a probiotic drink. And the reason why she and many children with narcolepsy have to eat a little bit with their Xyrem is to sort of stave off nausea in the morning, because that can be quite hard for them. So she eats a little bit and she takes her Xyrem, she drinks it in a cup, and then she just uses the bathroom, because sometimes if you're on Xyrem it can kind of induce bedwetting, which is a little bit rough when you're 10. So we make sure she uses the bathroom, and then she goes back to bed for a few hours. Usually Xyrem is effective for 2, 3, maybe 4 hours at a time. Matilda's a little bit different in that she does wake through the first and second dose, because she also has some other sleep disorders. One of them is central sleep apnea, which is very rare. It's a brainstem disorder, and we have no idea where that came from or why she has it. She also has obstructive sleep apnea, which is very common, where you're just not getting the oxygen through your airways and you're not refreshed. And she has also a parasomnia disorder. So don't be dissuaded or put off by that. That's not particularly typical in children like her, but it just means for Matilda that she wakes through the first dose and the second dose. But typically a single dose of Xyrem, she's on 3.75 I think, would last a few hours, and then she wakes for the second dose around about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I should add that in order to keep that second dose safe, and we learnt this the hard way, because obviously getting up to her means that we're really tired and not always on our game. So we put the second dose in a kitchen safe, a little time box that she can't access, and you can just get those on Amazon. I think it's called the kitchen safe. It's about $30 or so. So the second dose gets locked away in the bathroom, and she goes back to bed and has a few hours sleep, and then we start that process again. So by about 4:30 in the morning, her sleep's pretty much done, and she then goes to the kitchen, because her appetite just kicks in big time. And again, this is super typical of people with narcolepsy. So I personally don't get up to her in the kitchen because I'm just too tired, but I know that Oliver really struggles with that, and he usually gets up and makes sure that she's not, cutting her hands on an apple or something, because she's so hungry. And although we leave out something healthy like a bowl of cereal or a banana, Matilda sort of has this desire to eat whatever she fancies at that time, and it might be leftovers, meatballs, or could be anything. So we try and lock up some of the unhealthy food in the house, because we have other kids and their dietary needs are completely different. But once she's done with her breakfast at about 4:30 in the morning, Matilda creeps back to bed and then kind of naps on and off till about 6:30. By 7 she takes a range of day medication, and this is designed to keep her awake at school. And both the morning meds, she's on Strattera and modafinil, otherwise known as Provigil, they're stimulants, and they do a good job of keeping her awake and condensing her daytime naps. So she takes those medications with another breakfast, second breakfast, and a cup of tea, because we're English and tea's great for everything. And then she goes off to school and she naps in the car. Usually she has a big pillow pet, and any time she's in the car is a big trigger for getting that nap. So it's pretty good that she can sleep all the way into school. And then Matilda's super functional at school. By the time she's there, she's really, really alert and engaged and able to do pretty much everything. She does struggle with PE because of her energy levels, and recess, she is the kind of kid you'd see sitting down or walking around, reading a book, not playing basketball or on the swings or anything like that. So she knows how to conserve her energy at school. And sometimes when the need is there, she'll do a little sign to her teacher. I forget what it is. It's like a hand sign. She puts her hand up, and her teacher understands that this means I need to nap right now. So she just puts her head down on the desk and takes a quick 20-minute nap. previously, before 5th grade, Matilda had a little sort of bed that she would roll out and actually do a full nap at the back of the classroom, but she really didn't love doing that. I mean, she had to do it when her medication wasn't quite so well controlled for her, but now she's doing so much better that she can just take a little nap on her desk and not miss too much. But in any case, she comes home in the car, she sleeps on the way home, and usually this is then kind of the hardest time of the day for some reason. Like between 3 and 5 is just, she's really feeling the effects of her narcolepsy, and that manifests itself in, you know, her behavior. She's pretty grumpy and sometimes difficult to reach. So once she's through that second or third nap, she does pretty well. She does homework and the makeup class, and I'm usually home at that time of day to sort of pick up the pieces. Hopefully she's not missed math, because that's just too much for me, but other subjects I can pretty much help her with. So that's Matilda. She's really doing great in school. She's resting a lot of the weekend. She's growing up. She's 10 years old now, and she seems very settled here. She's got some great friends that she likes to do play dates with on Fridays at the weekends, and the only thing I would say that is really missing for her is exercise and trying to find a way forward with her energy levels on top of school. So generally extracurricular sort of doesn't work for her, and we're just trying to figure out ways in which she can sort of stay healthy with exercise moving forward, and that remains a challenge. So I'll check back in with you, but so that's Matilda, how she's doing, and I'll do another video to talk about the rest of us. But thanks everyone for being so concerned and so supportive of our family and the book, and I'll speak to you soon.